Okay, today we're going to look at our OneTigris camp stove. So let's get this thing set up and show you how it all works. The controls for the flue. And you'll notice that there's an arrow on the controller. So this is closed. This is full open, and you want it full open when you first start the stove. You need to be careful because this is not very tight. So if you pull it too far this way, you will change the orientation. You can move this handle all the way over here and it'll start and loosen everything up. So we'll get this set up, pull the feet down. Okay. Now we're going to open it up and install the stove pipe, the chimney. Right. So the stove pipe is set up so that there's a wider end on one end and a narrower end on the other, so that when you connect it, it nests together like this. 3, because it needs to create a draft. This comes with it. You need to turn it over so that there's some air between the bottom of the stove and where you put your wood. All right. Now we can go ahead and put wood in here and give it a go. See what happens. So typically, if we're camping, we would use one of our fire starters. And if you want to know how to make those, just let us know in the comments. But I have some paper, courtesy of Amazon. So we'll put this in here. All right, light that up. Just go ahead and use the fire starter on this. Just lighter. And the firebox for this particular stove is about 14 inches. And most firewood that you would get for like a national park or a national forest or someplace like that would be pre-packaged to about 14 inches anyway. All right, once it starts going, you can go ahead and close this up. You just need to make sure that this is all the way open. This will let air into the firebox, and the flue all the way open creates the big draft. And you can see that already it's burning really well. And if you come up to the flue, you can see that we have a pretty good draft. So we're going to put a fan on top of it. And in a hot tent camping scenario, or even at your house, this fan would help move the hot air that the stove generates. And it's not a mechanical fan, so it's the heat causes the metal to, I don't know, expand, contract, etc., and then the fan starts moving. You can see it starting to move already. And let's look and see how hot this is already. So it's already 100 degrees, if you can see that. Let's see what it is on the stovepipe. On the stovepipe, it's 207 degrees. And on the side of the stove, in the wind, it's 72 degrees. So let's put some more wood in this and see what we get. You can see it has some white smoke. That's because some of this wood I just picked up off the ground. It's wet. When you get wet wood in the wood stove, it typically doesn't burn as hot. Eventually it will, because eventually it'll dry out, but you should use dry wood if you can. And you can definitely feel the fan here blowing. All right. So the other thing to know is when you're playing with a wood stove, these leather or deer hide gloves that you can get at, gosh, Home Depot, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, Rural King, anywhere, come in real handy when dealing with the wood stove. You're not going to just put your hand on the wood stove like you're petting your dog. But if you need something to manipulate the wood or the ventilation, then you want leather gloves so that you don't burn your hand off. And if it's cold enough that you need a wood stove, you're probably going to be wanting a down jacket. Be careful around a wood stove with a down jacket, because your down jacket will melt as well. I did that on my last trip and got a little melt on my sleeve. Had to patch it. It's okay, but it's frustrating because you know better. Now this stove will get hot enough to where you could put a skillet or something like this on top of it. We're still at 170 degrees on the front of the stove. And over 200 degrees at the base of the stove pipe. And 270 degrees on the side of the stove now. Let's open it up and see what we have. It's burning well. Could be burning hotter if I didn't put wet wood in the stove. But you can definitely hear it popping once I opened that door and more air was getting into the box. So when you're camping with this stove, like in a tent, you can get a silicone mat, and the silicone won't melt under the stove. And what we would typically do is we'd put the silicone mat down, and then we'd put the stove on the silicone mat, and then we'd put our firewood kind of under the stove but not touching the bottom of the stove. But one thing you need to realize is that if you do not do that, if you just put the stove on the silicone mat, then you put the silicone mat like on a tarp or the bottom of your tent, the silicone won't melt, but the heat of the stove will transfer through that silicone mat and melt your tarp. So if you're going to do something like that with a hot tent stove, you probably want the silicone mat on dirt. Like, don't put the floor of your tent all the way under the stove, or just put your stove on bricks or rock or something else so that the heat transfers to the ground and not to the floor of your tent. 243 on the front of the stove. 470 on the back of the stove. And 280 on the side of the stove. This thing will get cooking. Telling you, I love the stove. It's a great stove. It's a lot of adjustability between the air intake and the flue. You can really control the amount of heat that you get with it. I think this thing was, I don't know, I'm just guessing, maybe $100 for this. I think this little fan thing here was, I don't know, 30 or 40 bucks. But yeah, it's a great device. Keep you warm, cook in your tent if you need to. It's yeah, highly recommend this thing. And it's one of the heating sources that we use when we go winter camping. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to answer. Until then, have a great day and be safe out there.